yesterday, and actually let me pull up the email that I got from WWE.
Oh, hey, are they bothering us again?
They made a big deal out of this everywhere, so let's talk about it. I got an email yesterday, 10:31 a.m. WWE signs Jade Cargill to multi-year deal. Stamford, Connecticut, September 26, 2023. WWE, part of TKO Group Holdings, today announced it has signed Jade Cargill to a multi-year contract. Cargill, a standout performer who has earned accolades as an industry-renowned talent, will begin training today at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando.
An industry-renowned talent
who we need to retrain.
She'll
begin training today. That's how it ends.
She's wrestled. She's wrestled in one company in the industry. So industry renowned. And now we're going to teach her how to wrestle. But you know what? Here's the thing. It's not. This is what you should do. They're making a big deal out of signing somebody right out of the gate. I'm sure they think that because of her limited amount of experience, but at least she's not starting from scratch, that they will be able to get her to where she can, be featured in NXT fairly quickly and then move to the main roster, and they can document that journey.
I think she's going right to the main roster. I don't think she's going to NXT.
Well, okay, so then technically you don't have to appear in NXT if you're training at the Performance Center. They can just keep you under wraps and then debut you on the main roster.
Right. I mean, they only tape NXT for a couple hours a week.
But point being, they're making a big deal out of signing, and it's not just because she came from AEW, because again, a lot of her audience, or a lot of her let me try that again. A lot of their audience doesn't know about AEW to begin with, the male or female talent, but she looks like something. And so it works. And they've obviously, again, got some kind of idea that somebody high up is enamored of. The writers have sold, or somebody in management says that this gimmick or this idea or this character, as they say, we got to have this girl. We're going to do this. Boom, boom, boom. And they're starting. But I'll tell you what, at first, 4 years ago, it was everybody looking to get out of their WWE contract so that they could go over to the sunny side of the street where the grass is always greener, directly over the septic tank. And WWE was having up their bids to try to keep these people. And now that a bunch of people have been over there and seen what's going on, the return trip is, even though it's more limited, Tony took everybody he could get. They've got Cody. They got Jane. They're probably going to get MJ. Her too. They're probably going to get MJF. And
Punk.
and Punk. That's pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but likely.
Well, if he wants to continue to wrestle, then as we've established, there's nobody else available to the WWE at that level right now. So that's within a year and a half, Cody's been at 2 years. Within that period of time, they've cherry-picked, or will have cherry-picked, 3 or 4 people from the other company and made them bigger than they ever were in that company and bigger than they've ever been. Because they're just picking the right fucking people now, rather than let's sign all these motherfuckers away from him.
Yeah, as clunky as everything was in the early days of Jade on AEW TV, she always exuded confidence and an aura. She has a star-like presence.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you would say. She seems to be someone who can carry that. That's what WWE wants. People who can be that star everywhere and represent them. She, from everything I heard, is, I don't know how you want to say it, trainable. She's an athlete.
Coachable.
Yeah, coachable's better way to say it. She works well with coaches. She's looking to improve. She's not one of these people, look at me, I got a 6-pack, I'll be a wrestler. So this will be really interesting to see now that she's in their program, how they train her, retrain her, reteach her, and then what she's, based on the press release that went out and the way they're making a big deal out of this, would you be shocked if they brought her up and didn't use her as a star?
Oh, but no, yes, I would be shocked. They are definitely going to bring her to wherever she goes and use her as a star. They wouldn't be starting this like this. And there's going to be some element of training and retraining. But as you mentioned, if she's coachable, that's going to be a point in her factor, but a factor in her direction or whatever the fuck I'm saying. Blah, blah, blah. But remember, with what we've seen of her on television, she did a media interview not long ago where she said that, well, the first time she hit somebody with a chair, they just said, yeah, I hit her with a chair. And I think it was, did she say it was Punk?
It was
that
Punk.
Came in.
Yeah.
And said, look, choke up on the legs here and do like this. Because they were just going to let this girl go out and whack somebody with a fucking chair, with not say boo to a goose about how to do it. And that's part of the problem, is that they're going to have to make sure that in the WWE at the Performance Center that you wouldn't know that somebody that's been in wrestling featured at that level on national TV might not know how to do this thing or that thing until you ask and until it comes up. So they're probably going to have to get a feel for her and try to figure out what she's good at and what areas she has not been instructed in as well.
You know, there's so many problems with women's wrestling right now, but from afar, if you look at like the top women in AEW, and you look into the WWE that in a year or so could have a Rhea Ripley, a Bianca Belair, a Jade Cargill. In terms of just look, you know, one group has women that look like they can kick your ass. And they could also work, hopefully. I mean, well, at least Bianca and Rhea.
Where is Bianca? Where's she been lately?
I think she's taking time off.
Oh, well, that's good for her. She can just take time off. Just go away and be off.
But you wouldn't have said no. If Jim Crockett said, Jim, I'll give you all the money. Just stay home for a while and hang out and you can come back. Would you have said, no, I must be there?
Actually, in those days, yes, I would have.
To save your spot?
But,
To save your spot?
Well, yes, but also out of sight, out of mind. You know, if you're gone, you're gone. No, I mean, how can I miss you if you won't go away, though? We hadn't got to that part yet. But no, I'm just kidding. Poor Bianca. She can take time off if she wants to. We'll be waiting when she gets back.
I have some audio I want to play you in a moment of Jade talking on ESPN about all this. But one last thing, and I kind of brought this up the other day. When you look at how things are now and the big deal WWE's making out of signing someone, they're not even naming, obviously, where she used to work. So if you don't know, you don't know. How big of a mistake is it for Tony to take someone, immediately build her up on TV, and at the end of the day, what did he get out of it? Like, she lost at the pay-per-view, then she lost the second match on Rampage, and then she was never seen ever again on that show. Is that the correct way to get, I hate to say like get something out of, you know what I mean? Get something out of the push you're giving someone.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's a transactional piece of business. If you take an individual and train them and feature them on your television and push them and give them wins over all of these other members of the talent roster, Jane got something out of it. She got put over as a star and a personality and etc. And in return, what the promoter is supposed to get out of it is that this will lead to increased attendance or bigger buy rates or merchandise or just people watching television. Yeah, we've mentioned that she did get good TV numbers. It's not like it was suddenly CM Punk time every time she was on, but you know, her numbers didn't stink the joint out most of the time like the Buckaroos or whatever. But there were no tickets sold based on her because she was on the show, but you wouldn't buy a ticket. First thing you say, oh, I'm going to see Jade Cargill live. And there was no pay-per-view boost because she was never featured in any kind of meaningful pay-per-view match that you would have. There was no Charlotte versus Ripley level, Becky Lynch versus whatever in a cage on WrestleMania. It was her weekly showcase match to win in 7 or 8 minutes. And I don't know about her merchandise. Was she on any lists? Were the baddies hoodies flying off the fucking shelves?
Well, if it's like the other AEW merchandise, whatever was sold online. They probably didn't have it at the arenas.
So, point being, she got plenty out of it, and it's not really her fault because she wasn't telling them to use her that way. It's not her fault that they didn't get anything out of it. They got one meaningful job to Statlander, and that's, that's it. So there you go. And she's made the statement that she knew she had to go to the big boys, the big company, to get the best training and have the most opportunities to be the biggest star. She said that in so many words. What's she saying in your audio?